Here are a few practical examples of this drama. First, the blessing or making a thing real. Sit in your living room and name a piece of furniture, rug, or lamp that you would like to have in this particular room. Look at that area of the room where you would place it if you had it. Close your eyes and let all that now occupies that area of the room vanish. In your imagination, see this area as empty space. There's absolutely nothing there. Now begin to fill the space with the desired piece of furniture. Sense and feel that you have it in this very area. Imagine you are seeing that which you desire to see. Continue in this consciousness until you feel the thrill of possession. Second, the blessing or the making of a real place. You are now seated in your apartment in New York City, contemplating the joy that would be yours if you were on an ocean liner sailing across the great Atlantic. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. Your eyes are closed. You have consciously released the New York apartment, and in its place you sense and feel that you are on an ocean liner. You are seated in a deck chair. There is nothing around you but the vast Atlantic. Fix the reality of this ship and ocean so that in this state you can mentally recall the day when you were seated in your New York apartment dreaming of this day at sea. Recall the mental picture of yourself sitting there in the New York apartment dreaming of this day. In your imagination, see the memory picture of yourself back there. If you succeed in looking back on your New York apartment without consciously returning there, then you have successfully prepared the reality of this voyage. Remain in this conscious state, feeling the reality of the ship and the ocean. Feel the joy of this accomplishment. Then open your eyes. You have gone and prepared the place. You have fixed a definite psychological state, and where you are in consciousness, there you shall be in body also. Third, the blessing or making real of a point in time. You consciously let go of this day, month, or year, as the case may be, and you imagine that it is now that day, month, or year which you desire to experience. You sense and feel the reality of the desired time by impressing upon yourself the fact that it is now accomplished. As you sense the naturalness of this time, you begin to feel the thrill of having fully realized that which before you started the psychological journey in time, you desired to experience at this time. With the knowledge of your power to bless, you can open the doors of any prison. The prison of illness, or poverty, or of a humdrum existence. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. The next chapter is called the Sabbath. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. These 6 days are not 24-hour periods of time. They symbolize the psychological moment a definite subjective state is fixed. These 6 days of work are subjective experiences, and consequently cannot be measured by sidereal time. For the real work of fixing a definite psychological state is done in consciousness. The time spent in consciously defining yourself as that which you desire to be is the measure of these 6 days. A change of consciousness is the work done in these 6 creative days. A psychological adjustment, which is measured not by sidereal time, but by actual subjective accomplishment. Just as life in retrospect is measured not by years, but by the content of those years, so too is this psychological interval measured not by the time spent in making the adjustment, but by the accomplishment of that interval. The true meaning of 6 days of work, creation, is revealed in the mystery of the Vav. which is the sixth letter in the Hebrew alphabet and the third letter in the divine name, Jod-He-Vod-He. As previously explained in the mystery of the name of Jehovah, Vod means to nail or join. The Creator is joined to His creation through feeling, and the time that it takes you to fix a definite feeling is the true measure of these 6 days of creation. Mentally separating yourself from the objective world and attaching yourself through the secret of feeling to the subjective state is the function of the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Va, or the 6 days of work. There is always an interval between the fixed impression or subjective state and the outward expression of that state. The interval is called the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the mental rest which follows the fixed psychological state. It is the result of your 6 days of work. The Sabbath was made for man. This mental rest which follows a successful conscious impregnation is the period of mental pregnancy, a period which is made for the purpose of incubating the manifestation. It was made for the manifestation. The manifestation was not made for it. Automatically, you keep the Sabbath a day of rest, a period of mental rest, if you succeed in accomplishing your 6 days of work. There can be no Sabbath, no seventh day, no period of mental rest until the 6 days are over, until the psychological adjustment is accomplished and the mental impression is fully made. Man is warned that if he fails to keep the Sabbath, if he fails to enter into the rest of God, he will also fail to receive the promise. He will fail to realize his desires. The reason for this is simple and obvious. There can be no mental rest until a conscious impression is made. If a man fails to fully impress upon himself the fact that he now has that which heretofore he desired to possess, he will continue to desire it, and therefore he will not be mentally at rest or satisfied. If, on the other hand, he succeeds in making this conscious adjustment, so that upon emerging from the period of silence or his subjective 6 days of work, he knows by his feeling that he has the thing desired, then he automatically enters the Sabbath, or the period of mental rest. Pregnancy follows impregnation. Man does not continue desiring that which he has already acquired. The Sabbath can be kept as a day of rest only after man succeeds in becoming conscious of being that which before entering the silence he desired to be. The Sabbath is the result of the 6 days of work. The man who knows the true meaning of these 6 work days realizes that the observance of 1 day of the week as a day of physical quietness is not keeping the Sabbath. The peace and the quiet of the Sabbath can be experienced only when man has succeeded in becoming conscious of being that which he desires to be. If he fails to make this conscious impression, he has missed the mark. He has sinned, for to sin is to miss the mark, to fail to achieve one's objective, a state in which there is no peace of mind. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. If man had not been presented with an ideal state toward which to aim, a state to be desired and acquired, he would have been satisfied with his lot in life and would never have known sin. Now that man knows that his capacities are infinite, knows that by working 6 days or making a psychological adjustment he can realize his desires, he will not be satisfied until he achieves his every objective. He will, with the true knowledge of these 6 work days, define his objective and set about becoming conscious of being it. When this conscious impression is made, it is automatically followed by a period of mental rest, a period the mystic calls the Sabbath, an interval in which the conscious impression will be gestated and physically expressed. The word will be made flesh, but that is not the end. The Sabbath of rest, which will be broken by the embodiment of the ideal, will sooner or later give way to another 6 days of work, as man defines